Gopi Jana Bhava Girivari Yachoranandana Braja Jana Jana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Jaya Jaya Baladeva Subhadra Jaya Srinata Ji Jaya Bhagavatam Jaya Srinata Ji Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Vishnupada Mahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtotra Satya Shishimara's Divine Grace, founder of Iskana Bhajacharya Nadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam and those there most merciful Lordship Shri Shriradha Bihari Ki Shri Jagannath Shri Baladev Mani Subhadra Ki Jai Shri Nataji Shri Balagopal Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai Nitai Go. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the Lord Spirit of Shri Guru Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tojayamudiraye Nastaprayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtaki. Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 5. Nadya Samudra Giraya Nadya Samudra Giraya Savanaspati Virudha Savanaspati Virudha Palanti Osadhaya Sarva Palanti Osadhaya Sarva Kamam Anvitu Tasya Vai Kamam Anvitu Tasya Vai Nadya Samudra Giraya Nadya Samudra Giraya Savanaspati Virudha Savanaspati Virudha Valantiya Sadhaya Sarva Valantiyo Sadhaya Sarva Kamam Anvritu Tasya Vai Kamam Anvritu Tasya Vai Nadya Samudra Giraya Savanaspati Virudha Valantiyo Sadhaya Sarva Kamam Anvritu Tasya Vai
Nadya Samudra Giraya
Nadya Samudra Giraya Savanaspati Virudha
Palantiyo Sada Sarva
Valantiyo Sadhaya Sarva Kamam Anvritu Tasya Vai
Nadya Samudra Giraya
Nadya Samudra Giraya
Savantapati Varudaha
Savanaspati Rudhaya
Palanti Osadhaya Sarva
Palantiyo Sadhaya Sarva
Kamam Anvritu Tasya Vai
Kamam Anvritu Tasya Vai Nadya Samudra Giraya Savanaspati Virudha Palantiyo Sadhaya Sarva Kamam Anvritu Tasya Vai Nadya rivers Samudra ocean Giraya hills and mountains Savanaspati vegetables Virudha creepers Valanti active Osadhaya drugs Sarva all Kama necessities Anvitu seasonal Tasya for the king by certainly Nadya Samudra Giraya Savanaspati Virudha Valanti Oshidaya Sarva Kamam Anvitu Tasya Vai. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The rivers, oceans, hills, mountains, forests, creepers, and active drugs in every season paid their tax quota to the king in profusion. Please repeat. The rivers, oceans,
The rivers, oceans,
hills, mountains,
hills, mountains,
forests, creepers,
forests, creepers,
and active drugs
and
and active drugs
in every season
in every season,
paid their tax quota
paid their tax
to
quota
the king
to the
to
king
the king
in profusion.
in profusion.
The rivers, oceans, hills, mountains, forests, creepers, and active drugs in every season paid their tax quota to the king in profusion. Purport by His Divine Grace of Acharnadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Since Maharaj Yudhisthira was under the protection of the Ajita, the infallible Lord, as above mentioned, the properties of the Lord, namely the rivers, oceans, hills, forests, etc., were all pleased, and they used to supply their respective quota of taxes to the king. The secret to success is to take refuge under the protection of the Supreme Lord. Without His sanction, nothing can be possible. To make economic development by our own endeavors on the strength of tools and machinery is not at all. The sanction of the Supreme Lord must be there. Otherwise, despite all instrumental arrangements, everything will be unsuccessful. The ultimate cause of success is the Daiva, the Supreme. Kings like Maharaj Yudhisthira knew perfectly well that the king is the agent of the Supreme Lord to look after the welfare of the mass of people. Actually, the state belongs to the Supreme Lord. The rivers, oceans, forests, hills, drugs, etc., are not the creations of man. They are all creations of the Supreme Lord. And the living being is allowed to make use of the property of the Lord for the service of the Lord. Today's slogan is that everything is for the people, and therefore the government is for the people and by the people. But to produce a new species of humanity at the present moment on the basis of God consciousness and perfection of human life, the ideology of godly communism, the world has to again follow in the footsteps of kings like Maharaj Yudhisthira or Parikshit. There's enough of everything by the will of the Lord, and we can make proper use of things to live comfortably without enmity between men or animal and man or nature. The control of the Lord is everywhere, and if the Lord is pleased, every part of nature will be pleased. The river will flow profusely to fertilize the land. The oceans will supply sufficient quantities of minerals, pearls, and jewels. The forest will supply sufficient wood, drugs, and vegetables. And the seasonal changes will effectively help produce fruits and flowers in profuse quantity. The artificial way of living depending on factories and tools can render so-called happiness only to a limited number at the cost of millions. Since the energy of the mass of people is engaged in factory production, the natural products are being hampered, and for this, the mass is unhappy. Without being educated properly, the mass of people are following in the footsteps of the vested interests by exploiting natural reserves. And therefore, there is acute competition between individual and nation. There's no control by the trained agent of the Lord. We must look into the defects of modern civilization by comparison here, and should follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Yudhisthira to cleanse man and wipe out anachronisms. Om Jnana-tamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshushamilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. We're seeing here that society, we're being made aware, is in a constant state of dissatisfaction. And Srila Prabhupada is making a point that we are dissatisfied with the things as they are because man is being made, forced to work under circumstances that are not of the same nature. Man was originally given the responsibility to take care of the earth by the activities. And so, see, on the one hand, here we are talking about spiritual communism. As soon as the word communism is used, in most people's minds in the United States and probably a good part of the world, the forms communism are presently taking in the world is not the form of communism being spoken of here. Spiritual communism means we recognize that everything is owned by the Supreme Lord and everything is used in service of the Supreme Lord. So here we see reference being made to the earth paying taxes, that the minerals of the earth, the oceans, the fruits of the earth, all these are in effect a tax being paid by the earth to the emperor of the world. Profusely, it says. Because of the purity of the king who is in its position, who is of a qualified nature, Yudhisthira Maharaj, who was religion incarnate. He was the son of Yamaraj. So when we talk about communism then as being a form of government for the people in large to experience, we're not talking about the type of slavery, enforced slavery that people have been put into by dictators and tyrants. We're talking about a society in which all the foodstuffs that are gathered together for the common good of all. And all the Brahmins or priests who have direct access to the altar of God, they offer the foodstuffs from the earth to the Supreme Person. So when all the nations of the world are engaging in the production of foodstuffs for humanity at large, and all of that is being offered to Krishna, so then it comes into the temple, the priests offer it to the Supreme Person, and then the general mass of people all take together. So that's spiritual communism. And food that is gathered by the people, that is for the common good, everybody takes part in. And as the seasons change, there is celebration made for the benefits brought to the people for each and every season. There are advantages and purifying process going on in the earth with the coming of each season, described in the Krishna book, actually. So, the powers that be now governing, as being pointed out here, by those forms of government that are being looked at by the people of the United States, for example. by the people and for the people. The problem with for the people is by the people. Because the people are not going to get what they want unless it's by God's doing. And when people try to do it for themselves, this is the whole problem society is experiencing. Nobody wants to live under the jurisdiction of God. And when people get into powers of position, they want to use those powers to regulate things according to their desires. So we may live under a form of government that allows us to have any ideology we want. This is what is being called freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of mind, to think whatever you want, and all these things. But our ability to experience the freedom to think whatever we want does not give us the ability over birth, death, old age, and disease. It does not give us the ability over our karma unless we apply the principles given by the lawmaker who is over the rules governing karmic reactions towards every living entity. Every form of life that is in this universe is right now in the position it is in, according to its karmic calculations, according to its level of advancement that it has come to. And without a means of getting out this circle of birth, death, old age, and disease that we're going through, that everybody is experiencing together, everybody is formulating opinions in their mind about what is good, what is bad, what is best, what is beneficial, what is healthy, what is holy, what is sacred. And unless there is a unification of all these ideologies in all the millions and billions of minds of living entities that there will not be a coming together. And so we will come. So without this coming together of humanity at large, there will always be division. And we will not, as a people, experience the wholesomeness of the unity of being governed with one governance over all of humanity at large, with all of humanity agreeing upon the foundational principles of that form of government that can be actually for the people. But the only way that can be possible if it is not by the people. The only way the people of the world can find satisfaction with the functions of government if those leaders who are in the positions of leadership of government have no false egos. But as long as false ego is allowed to reign in the minds of human beings, there will be chaos. There will be confusion. There will be enmity, separation of one another. And just as an automobile or any other machine does not function without all of its parts in place, humanity was not brought into existence to destroy itself, creating wars based on differences of thought, based on differences of ideas in our minds and our consciousness. So until the consciousness of human beings is brought to the state of awareness of what will unify us as a people. And until the desires of the people are purified to the extent that we all would want together what is best for all of us. This is a desire of someone who is serving God, in knowing that God has a plan than any greater than our combined intelligences can figure out. Even all the AI put together cannot figure out the plan the Supreme Person has for all of life that has come from the body of the Supreme Person. We are the offspring. There's a gender title to use. I am offspring. I'm not male, female, or LGBTQ.
Right.
I am offspring. Actually, as such, I was born out of season as well. But we are all offspring of the same original person who has, just like a father has for the establishment of his own family, he has in mind the welfare and well-being of all the members of the family in mind. God similarly has the welfare of all of his offspring in mind, which is why he is giving instructions to all civilizations in all of their historical accounts. Every civilization has had rapport or ideology presented to it about the fact that there is an original supreme person or God or force or power that has caused everything to come into existence. Those who study the universe have concluded it would have to be a conscious being, conscious force of intelligence, an intelligent force that has put the entirety of this universe as we see it together, and the order that it is, we can only know by communion with that person who has established these manifestations that we are seeing with our eyes. All of this came into existence for the solving of the solution, those needs that there are for the laws of God to manifest. So the laws of God manifest by what is revealed. So just like creation is a manifestation coming out of, see, the creation we are seeing is in a temporary state. It came out of, however, the body of the Supreme. But by its nature being an external force now, manifesting as an external force, it is manifesting as a temporary state. But its original place was inside the creative body of the Supreme Person. So that which is emanated from our bodies is looked at as waste. Our bodies are emitting profusely waste. And we are living in that substance emanating from the creative form or body of the Supreme Person. But with this realization comes the idea that that body, as well as huge as it is able to be communicated with, that person, that being from whom all universes are emanating. And so if it is possible for there to be communion with such a magnificent form and supremely divine form of the Supreme Person, then we, realizing our pitiful state of existence in this universe, we are in a microscopic state of excrement.
Right.
Excrement of the Supreme Person's body. And we are looking at this as a place to enjoy ourselves. Much like a hog looks at a mud puddle as a place to enjoy itself, to roll around, feel the squeeze and the squish of the pradhan, that in which there is no life. So this that we are removed from is the place where there is murta, death. But we have come from that place in which there was no death. This is why we're constantly longing to return to that eternal place. This is the push that we have for trying to find fun, trying to find happiness, trying to make a pleasant, comfortable place in this world. All this is related to our constant search for that eternity that we've left from. And it is only that eternity in its real state, in its real form, that will give us that satisfaction we are looking for in all these other things that we look for in the external realm that this world is to us. And we're looking to satisfy this longing in the shape of money, the shape of possessions, birth changed into different forms, which we can never hold in reality in our minds as our own. This earth is not mine. This earth was here before I came here, and this earth will be here after I leave. How can I claim this earth to be mine? I'm going to be bye-bye very soon now. My days are numbered. And the fact that they can be counted in this very manifestation, the very short period we have here, in order to find what we're looking for. And there's not enough time to find eternalness in a place where eternalness doesn't exist. There's nothing in this material universe that is of an eternal nature other than Dhruva Loka. The North Star, going to be there even when the whole universe is destroyed. The North Star will be there. Shouldn't there be an impetus in our hearts when we hear that to say, wow, the substance of that star must be something different from what I know. Isn't that? How is that going to outlast the fire of devastation that's going to burn the entire universe? Yet that one star is going to remain in its place. Dhruva. That's amazing to me. See, in a sense, Dhruva made the statement, I was looking for glass.
Broken.
Yeah, broken glass. I was looking for broken glass. When Krishna appeared to him, and asked him what he wanted. He wanted a kingdom greater than his father's, because his mother had told him that he couldn't sit on his father's lap unless he had taken birth through her. And for this, in the heart of a Kshatriya child, he was born with Kshatriya.
This Mahabharat.
No.
This is Bhagavatam. This is Dhruva Maharaj.
Okay.
And Krishna, see, Narada Muni had instructed him from the womb, another child. And then he went out because his mother had told him the only way, because Krishna's in control of everything, you have to pray to the Supreme Person, go into the wild. His mother gave him advice to go in and see. And then Narada Muni appeared when he was following so closely. Narada Muni himself appeared to him and then gave him a mantra. And he was so strictly adhering to this mantra after about 30 days. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That he chanted that. This is one of Krishna's most favorite mantras. And Dhruva Maharaj, chanting that faithfully, in the eyes of his guru, Narada Muni, who had come to him and said, Dhruva, you're just a young boy. You have time now to play. Play with the games, have fun with your friends. You don't need to do all this austerity. No, Dhruva had set in his heart. There was no wavering in his heart whatsoever. Determined, he was going to fulfill what was required to obtain that which he could not get any other way, he was told. And when Krishna gave it to him, when Krishna came in his very presence and had given Dhruva his desires, Dhruva said, Krishna, now I realize you are the reward of prayer, not anything else. And everything else in comparison is like broken glass. And so, this statement makes us believe that what Krishna had given him was broken glass. But he gave him this planet. Gave him his own planet. He asked for a kingdom and Krishna gave him a planet that will not be destroyed.
Where is this in Bhagavatam?
No, this is...
Coming cantos, it will come.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Coming in next cantos.
Also next canto.
Yeah. So we can see that if we persist on the path, we find great pleasure in Krishna's eyes. And this is the greatest achievement of life, to please God. And then when we can come to that place in life where we have pleased God, we will be satisfied. We will find that happiness that we've been looking everywhere else for. And then we will spend our days just remembering Krishna by the sound of his name, calling and dialing that phone number of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Wow. When you have a phone line directly connected to the Supreme Person, the only reason to talk to anybody else is connect them to that line, isn't it? That should be our purpose of conversation, communication. God, I realize this, and then, you come into the company of people, and here they are talking about this thing, talking about that thing, talking about whatever else is on their mind. It causes trouble. Everything else we talk about in life besides God is just the cause of our problems. We talk about problems hoping to solve them, but it's the fact that we're talking about them that we have them. Because consciousness that is fully absorbed in God is experiencing the presence of God. So what problems are there when we are in the presence of God? What problems could there be? We're making our own problems. We're making our minds are creating problems. This is what wars are all based on, differences of mental ideologies.
Right.
God, what are we doing to ourselves? I mean, from one perspective, it can be looked at as total ignorance.
Yeah.
When in every moment, every human being there is on the planet has access to the very innermost divine experiences of love that there is to be known, that God wants to share with us. And there is that available to us at every moment. But we are, in our minds, concocting things other than that which pleases God to do with these bodies. And these bodies are not ours to use even. Even the bodies we're using are not ours. They belong to Him. So certainly, if I have something that you think belongs to you, that attachment that you have to it brings automatically with it the thought in your mind of how that thing should be used. If you have something that I take of yours, you have a purpose in your mind that it should be used for. And if I use it for something else, especially if it is detrimental to you and it is your possession, and I'm taking it from you and using it against you, right? This is what human beings are doing with their bodies to God. If we use our bodies in exact opposite direction that God is saying they should be used for, it is to our own destruction. And this should be in our minds, common sense, right? It should be. And yet look what we see in the world. How many bodies are being used to serve God versus how many bodies are going exactly against God's teachings that allow us to experience true happiness. Those teachings that are given by God for our sake. All the instructions of God to mankind is for the benefit of mankind. And what do we do with them? We use them to our own destruction, fighting against one another, trying to prove that we know better what He's saying than others do. And this is our way of saying that we know the nature of God. So if I can kill you, then that means that I'm more powerful than you are. That means that I'm better than you are. That means that I know God. This is basically what we're exercising in our use of military strength in the world. I know God better than you. But Krishna, in his love towards humanity at large, being His offspring, gives designated engagements or practices that we can take part in every day that can be of benefit to humankind, that can be for the advancement of the intelligence of the human race, that can be each day a stepping stone working towards fulfilling those desires God has in his hearts. We think more about our own desires than we do about fulfilling God's desires. And if we take upon ourselves the responsibility to fulfilling God's purpose in our lives, we will be free from the calamities that we see happening in the world to those that put their faith and trust in things that are not of an eternal nature. We put our faith and trust in things that are of a destructive nature, of a temporary nature, of a changing, constantly changing nature. And until we have our minds set and our hopes and our desires set in knowing the eternal, knowing the substance of the eternal, which we are. We are the substance that God's body is made of, and it is of an eternal nature. That Satchidananda. This is why studying of the scriptures is so valuable to the soul, to know what it's made of. So when we study this nature of the scriptures, we're studying the nature of the soul as well. So when we see revealed in the personality of Krishna, the reaction he has to personalities, then we see the nature of God. And we see the qualities we know we should ourselves try to develop in our own human characters. So then we will develop the kind of qualities in life that other people will know God by. But if we are constantly looking to obtain for the purpose of defeating, destroying, breaking down, destroying. This is all forces of destruction. This is all forces of tamagun, the forces of ignorance. Maintenance, which Lord Vishnu in the universe is in charge of, is described as that in the mode of goodness. And so it is the maintaining of the status quo of God that we want to take part in the maintenance of. Not in the continuance of the destruction of humanity at large by the mass buildup of world-destructive weaponry. This is being looked at as some great accomplishment by the nations of the world, as how much buildup they can have to destroy the very planet. These bombs don't only kill human beings, but they upset the natural balance of the environment itself, that the earth was made to support life itself. But if we are constantly engaging our energies and our minds and our resources in trying to destroy the planet, these bodies are made of the planet. They're part of the planet too.
First love.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So, how can we see the destruction of the earth as beneficial to the earth, as beneficial to our existence in the earth, as our furtherance of the advancement of humanity? Is the ability to destroy the earth? Is that what is looked at by human beings now as accomplishments? Lord Shiva is going to do this in the end. He doesn't need any help. He's going to burn the whole universe down. And if such a being as is having person-to-person, face-to-face relationship with other souls, as we are souls also. And there are souls, beings, who have reached such a level of advancement of love of God that they have ability to see face to face with incarnations of God in forms so huge they could upset the balance of the earth. And when they seek to do these things, we call them demons. And we have accounts in these books of demons so huge they could force the earth to be pushed under the causal ocean that lies at the bottom of this universe. These are activities that are not known by the majority of people, and they will never be known by anyone unless they take these books and study that these pastimes of the Supreme Person open our minds to the reality of where we are, the reality of how we got here, the reality of the fact we got to get out of this place. It's urgent that we have to get out. And not only that, but we have to take as many people out with us when we go. And so this study of Bhagavatam should be impetus for us to want to give this knowledge to others, to open their minds as well to the reality of truth of God, to the reality of substance of God's love, that we can experience all. We can all experience. There's no grade level, there's no lifespan level, there's no age group discrepancy, there's no status of societal establishment that meets the requirements for love of God to be experienced in your heart right now, at this moment, every moment. Pure love of God is available to everyone who will look for it. Everyone who is searching for that. This is what God wants of human beings. He wants to give in order to receive from human beings. He is giving us his love, first of all. And all we have left to do then is to express that appreciation for that love. That's what worship is. Expressing from our hearts that experience of love that we are wanting everyone to have, and aiming that towards God ultimately as the supreme, towards whom all love should be directed from us, and then we will have love to be able to give love. And the thing about love is the more love you give, the more love you have, the more love you will receive as well. The more there is. What is that saying when you're having guests over? The more, the merrier. So the more that can take to this spreading of love of God, the more love of God there will be. That's just common sense. And even if we analyze with an objective perspective the value of the teachings of these books with an objective perspective, even if we look at it from an atheistic perspective, the outcome of the consciousness developed by the study of these pastimes will reveal the obvious truth that people who study and apply their consciousness, apply their minds and their works labor towards the precepts presented in these books will definitely have a higher experience of consciousness, which is where happiness is to be found, in our consciousness. And when we find it in its truest form, that is God. Love in its purest state, in its all-powerful form, that is God within us. The force of God within us is love that will manifest as that God transforms by his glance into a spiritual force. Everything we come in contact with that we use in God's service becomes spiritualized. We think of all the things in this world as mundane, which they are, without the use or the application to the energy, the divine inner energy of the Supreme, which manifests by the devotee who has that love for the Supreme, by the activities of the one who has that love in their heart for the Supreme, and by watching the activities of one who has that love for the Supreme, and by following the example of one who has that love for the Supreme in their hearts, then we get love for the Supreme in our hearts. And then we do those activities also. And everybody who sees us doing those activities, then they do those activities. Then the world becomes a heavenly planet. And then we experience love for one another. And life becomes sublime. So chant and be happy. And have life to its fullest extent. Happiness is an experience to be complete and fulfilled, and it's only a drop of love. So love is the object to be experienced, and love is the person of Krishna. Yeah. And the telephone number of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. And every word you say of his name, you are revealing to him how you're feeling about him at that moment. It's an automatic communication of minds. Your mind, Krishna consciousness is connecting your mind with God, with God's mind. God living in you, thinking in through you by revealing what your love for him is, manifesting by your acts. That's Krishna consciousness. Job. Any comments? Any realizations? Today is said to be Thanksgiving, but in Krishna consciousness, every day is Thanksgiving.
So we don't need a day for them.
And not only Thanksgiving, but thanks receiving. We give prasadam and we receive prasadam. We give mercy and we receive mercy. That's life. That's human life. That's what life is meant to be. Experienced as love of God, being given freely to all who seek God. Any comments, any questions, any realizations anybody'd like to share something with all the rest of humanity that may be listening? As many hundreds. We're only getting a few hundred on this. But as Krishna empowers us to become more and more pure, more and more people will be attracted, and soon we will be having millions following. Also, as we learn to put this out into the internet to the proper channels, the words we have of empowerment will have a different effect depending on what ear holes the words get put into. So if you put moving words into a societal mover, then you'll get a move of society. If you put movable words into the mind of someone who sits idle all day long, then there will be idleness abundantly. Shrimadbhagavatam, Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Let's do what we gotta do. No matter what it takes, just do it. Just do it. No, Prabhupada.
Yeah.